Lawrence Snell here, and welcome back to High Intensity Business, your one-stop shop for growing your hit business and fueling your passion for high intensity training. Today, I am joined by $1 Million Trainer Pete Cerqua. Pete built a $1.2 million strength training business. He now coaches strength training business owners and helps them grow to 100 sessions per week and beyond. Today, we are doing Garage Gym Series Part 4. Really excited to do this. Love talking to you, Pete, as always. And I'm excited to, have this conversation about, how to do the consultation, right? The initial consultation with a new client, new prospect, how to really make that go well, and how to obviously convert them into a customer. So what's the first thing? What's the first thing to talk about in terms of the consultation?
Consultation is everything, Lawrence. Consultation is your business card. It's your 15 minutes of fame. Think of it like this. How many people do you know say, I wish I, could be an actor or do a musical or be in a movie? And you say, okay, and you grab them and you put them up on the stage and say, you're on. Watch them freeze now. Okay. So this is your 15 minutes to shine, and it is 15 minutes. Nobody does an audition for a movie for an hour and a half, because the director's going to throw you out. Okay, I've heard enough. It's usually when the first few seconds you grab them or you don't. Consultations are the same way. So I made some notes about successful consultations of some things you might want to consider. And I say consider because I don't like telling people what to do. They're going to let them fail on their own, or succeed on their own. But here's some points that may resonate with you. The first and foremost is identify what your service will do for them. What are you selling? What's your product? For me, I was very, very strict on this. I do strength training, period, end of story. I will make you stronger. The workout chart will reflect that. This is an important point I cannot stress enough. And as we go through the rest of my notes and I share more information with you, you're going to find out why. You're going to make these connections. But I do strength training and nothing else. I don't fix pipes. I don't adjust your TV screen. I won't go jogging with you. I don't play paddle tennis. I do strength training. I specialize. I do nothing else. When I learned that 30 years ago, because I won't say I was a jack of all trades. I've seen trainers like that where they would just, they were just kissing ass trying to satisfy their clients. I'll do anything with you. You want to do the latest fad workout, jumping up and down? Yeah, we'll do that. I mean, the trainer was really all about, just sucking up to the client. Okay. And that wasn't me at all. I couldn't stand that or those trainers, but I did more volume and training and more. I was giving more time, and that wasn't getting me anywhere. My business wasn't good. And once I look, I do one thing only. You will get stronger. Well, was that going to get me to my weight loss goals? No, that's your problem. It's what you're putting in your mouth. And I had to do that right away. Otherwise I would lose business. So and remember my number one rule, Lawrence, it's not about you. It's about them. So identify what your service will do for them, not for you. So let's start there.
Before you do, I'd love to hear, where did you first learn to be focused, to just focus on strength training? Was that self-discovery, or was there a mentor or something where you realized, oh, actually, I'll have more success and grow faster if I just focus on being great at one thing?
It's a lot of my career came with failing and being fed up. And Lawrence, we were just having a private conversation about this subject. It's where you're ready to walk away, right? So you know what? You don't need my services, and I don't need your money. And then, with that attitude, with me getting so fed up in certain situations and having the response I was expecting was, yeah, you're right, I'm out of here. And instead it was like, they'll pay me more and they want to marketing. And I just, it took me a couple before I made the connection. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's what they want. They want to know you're in demand. They want to know that you don't need them. Then you're more desirable. And when I just flipped it on its head. And this is after 10 years of getting beat up. I mean, I was the average trainer making the average money, which was just one step above poverty. It was pathetic. And there were many times in my first 10 years of my career that I was just like, you know what? I think an office job would be better because the business side of this just sucks. It just wasn't fun being broke. And then once I came across some of these principles and my schedule got jammed, I'm like, oh, well, you look at your checking account, you're like, this is fun. Okay. This is different. I like this. But that's where it came from, Lawrence. And you get this, you know this, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there are obviously lots of benefits to being focused in your business. And we talked about that before in another podcast. I'm just fascinated by how because it's not like, Luke Carlson wasn't around preaching the benefits of strategic niche in a strength training business. You knew that you came across this instinctively through your own experience, right? Because what I'm hearing when you speak is you got sick of people. What you were doing all these other things. You were doing nutrition. You were doing other things, and people just weren't following it or whatever. Were you ever like? Did you ever wander into these other areas, other services, and realize actually no, that's not for me. I'm just going to do this.
Actually, a little bit of this, you're going to love this story, and I'll do a name drop, which I don't normally do. So a friend of mine, a very famous friend who's in the fitness world selling gym equipment, called me up one day. He's a good friend for 40 years. And he said, Pete, I got a client of mine came in. Now, everybody who's anybody in the celebrity politics world goes to this guy for their home gym equipment. Okay. Anyway, he calls me up one day. Pete, guy came into my store the other day and he's looking for a trainer with, and he asked me for a referral. And all I could think of was you. I think you'd be perfect for this guy, Al Pacino. So I said, wow, I'm a fan, of course, right? Godfather 1 and 2. Godfather 3 was not being filmed yet. It was a deal, but they didn't start the project yet.
What about Scarface? That had been done by that point as well?
I don't remember the timeline of the year of Scarface versus Godfather 2. Scarface was probably after it, but I don't remember.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, well, normally this is not my thing. I don't want to be a celebrity trainer because the celebrity trainers weren't making money at my gym. I saw because you'd have one celebrity at $250 an hour. This is back in the 80s and 90s. And 3 times a week, but then no other clients. And if that guy went away for 3 months to go film something, you saw the trainer sitting there crying. I mean, it was just terrible. So I stayed away from it. They called me up and he said, Al Pacino's interested. Can I have his manager call you up? Sure, no problem. I was kind of excited about the call and getting the offer, right? So the manager calls me up and we're chatting and, so-and-so speaks so highly of you. You basically have the gig. So here's the gig. Al likes to play something called paddle tennis, which I don't know if you know what that is. In New York City, we have paddle tennis courts.
Is that the same as paddle, just paddle ball, is it?
No, a little bit different than paddle.
Okay.
We have paddle ball courts in New York. Paddle tennis looks just like tennis, but you're playing with a dead tennis ball.
Okay.
Which means you can hit it as hard as you want. And it doesn't go fast because we don't have a lot of room in New York. I don't know. Anyway, Al wants you to play paddle tennis with him and then maybe do some calisthenic exercises and blah, blah, blah. And Lawrence, I didn't have this planned. I didn't know how this call was going to go, but it just came out of me. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You've got the wrong guy. I don't do that. And I'm sitting there thinking, there goes my career. What little pathetic career I have, there it goes down the toilet. I am definitely out of the business, right? And did you hear me, son? This is Al Pacino. And by the way, we want you to come to Italy for the filming of Godfather 3. And I said, so I can sit in a trailer all day until he gets the urge to play paddle tennis? And the little awkward silence on the phone. And the guy's like, well, yeah. I'm like, yeah, you got the wrong guy. I don't do that. I make people stronger. If Mr. Pacino's interested in some strength training, I do that. If he's not, I think you got the wrong guy. I can probably give you a few names if you want. But we kind of ended the call. Word got around that I did that, business doubled for me.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's funny.
So
But
there
I'm
is a
still
point to it.
fascinated, like, why? I don't know why it's so foreign to me. Maybe it's because I discovered it so late, just this, this idea, or say late, I don't know whether it's late really. But just the benefit of being focused. And I'm just fascinated how you came across it. Can you elaborate more on that? Like how you, why you was, because that is I mean, how old are you when that opportunity happened or come across?
Late 20s.
Okay. So you were like, young, just getting started. An opportunity like that, a lot of people just jump at that, right? They would ruin their whole business model to get that business. And you did absolutely the right thing. But how come you had the wherewithal to do that? What I mean, maybe you've already said it, so apologies, but can you
No,
elaborate
I,
more?
I was just sick and tired of that point. So I had a schedule.
Right.
It wasn't great. It was, I would get a new client annually, like January, I would get a referral. Um, I wasn't going to spend any money on advertising because I didn't want a stranger in New York City to call me up about my program. So I wasn't going to put an ad somewhere. I was going to do a postcard because I saw what kind of response you get. A nut job, you get, psychos. Like I wanted organic referrals. They just weren't coming fast. They were coming so slow. It was painful. And in the summertime, when everybody went away on vacation, like August in New York, a lot of people go to the Hamptons. Well, my few rich clients would go to the Hamptons for the month. I'd be broke. I needed credit cards to get through the month. So business was horrible. But when this opportunity came along, I'm doing the math and I'm just speaking what's coming
Yeah.
through my mind. Like, so I'm going to go to Italy, sit in a trailer. So it's not like I'm going to see Italy. I'm going to wait all day for this guy to just, hey, you know what? I want to play paddle tennis now. Okay. That's not me. I mean, that's so beneath me. It's like, that's not the business I envisioned. And then on top of that, I'm going to watch. This is my favorite part. I'm going to tell the few clients I have that are regulars, hey, listen, I'm going to go work with Al Pacino in Italy for the filming of Godfather 3. Aren't I special? And you'll have to wait for me. I'll be back in 6 months. And they're going to go, what are you, out of your mind? No, we're going to go find another trainer and you're going to come back to no money. And maybe not even Al Pacino, right? When we get back to New York, maybe he goes to LA for 6 months or so. I don't know. There's no guarantee. So now I'm out of business because of one guy. And I was voicing that to the manager. It just came out of me. Well, word got around, got back to my friend in New York who sold the gym equipment. And he started telling, hey, Pete turned down Al Pacino. What do you mean? And it's a small town, even though it's got 10 million people. Word got around. Yeah, Pete Cerqua, he doesn't do that. And then I got people. So what do you do? I do strength training. I'd like to do that. Can I come and work with you? Business doubled. And that was one of my light bulb moments where I said, oh, okay, that's how to market my business. Don't be a jack of all trades. Don't bore them to tears. Don't over explain stuff. Focus. Just be who you are. That's me.
I love this. Yeah. And obviously you create so much scarcity then as well. And exclusivity. We're going to touch on focus later on this podcast as well, because it's going to come up again. And so we'll put a pin in the focus topic because it's so important. And I think you illustrated that or described that so well. And that story was brilliant. I've not heard that one before. That was a surprise. And I thought I'd heard them all, Pete. So, okay. So it's not about you. It's about them. That's very much the frame of the consultation. So now we're coming on to the idea that in your mind, consultation should not be longer than your session, right? So if you do a 30-minute session, it should be a 30-minute consultation. So what's that plan look like? What's that format, step by step for that consultation then?
If you can't explain it in a sentence or two, you shouldn't be doing it. I've seen trainers. I've worked in gyms with trainers who can spend an hour just showing you the setup of a leg press. And that's not what the client wants. The client wants it explained in about 15 seconds. Have a seat here, put your feet up, push. They don't want to hear the invention of the leg press and how the stack moves up from the bottom and No, 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 no. That's not what the service is about. So if you're selling a 15-minute session, your consultation should be 15 minutes. I recommend for most everybody, a 30-minute session is probably the best product, dollar for dollar, pound for pound, and for longevity reasons. So if you do a 30-minute session, which is it's a 15 to 20-minute workout, and it gives you a few minutes for hello, goodbye, scheduling, and a little chit chat, which is necessary. A 30-minute session, you should have a 30-minute consultation, and not a 31-minute consultation, and definitely not a 1-hour consultation. Now you're just scaring people off, or you're begging for them to come in and they're feeling sorry for you. Either way, not good. Keep it tight. This is your product, right? Your time is your product.
Yeah, I agree. You're creating too much of a disconnect, aren't you? If your session is 30 minutes and your consultation is an hour. I mean, I had that happen a few times and it was okay, but I just don't think anyone should get into the habit of doing that. It's just not, you're selling efficiency. It's one of the main things you're trying to get across, and you're not doing that if your consultation is too long, probably. So, do you want to walk us through step by step, like how does someone run a consultation so that they can, convert as many consults as they can?
So first is, where are you doing the consultation? So some people give a tour of the facility, and then some people give a complete workout in addition to the tour. Some people go into a consultation room. Well, that's a red flag for me. Every time I hear a studio owner share with me, I always ask about the consultations. Yeah, we go in the consultation room, close the door for a private conversation. I'm like, oh man, hold on there. The client feels like they're locked in a prison. It's like, and all they're thinking about is, how do I get out of here? And then if you run on for an hour trying to over explain something they don't want to hear about, all they're thinking about is, I want to leave. I never want to come back. So it's not a good thing. You think it's focused, and I think it's not. So where are you doing it? If you're doing it on the gym floor and giving a little tour and demonstrating an exercise or two, I think that's a better way to go. Something worthy of consideration. If you're in a locked room, I don't connect with that. And I never supported that. And any trainers that I saw doing that, I saw the look on their prospective clients' faces. It was of horror or boredom, or I got to get out of here. And then, did they close one or two? Yeah. But their percentages was like, 5% closure rate, and wondering why their businesses were not doing well. So where you do it is important. Consider these things. When my consultations were really simple. It's a 15-minute workout. It's a 15-minute consultation. I first, walk them in. I show them the studio, which by the way, takes 30 seconds. I don't walk them around. See that room over there? We've got some really nice machines for the lower body. And over here, we've got some upper body machines. They're really nice machines. That's about as detailed as I get about the machines. They're really nice. Okay. From there, we got some changing rooms over there. There's some bathrooms. Of course, you already saw the waiting area, and we have an outdoor deck. Sometimes people like to come early, sit outside in the sun, and drink some coffee before, we do a workout. We also have a kitchen, and there's always a pot of coffee on, which smells very nice, by the way. It's inviting. Even if you don't drink coffee, most people like the smell. That factored in. That was the end of my tour. I just walked you through it. We stood in a central point, and so if you don't mind, why don't you come with me over here, and I would have them have a seat on the MedX pull down, which, as you know, faces outward. I would always raise the seat up. Before they got there, I would just lean over with my left hand and just raise the seat up. And I have a really nice chrome footstools. Please have a seat up here, male or female. Let's just chat for a minute. I've got paper and pen. If you don't think that makes an impression, I did use an iPad at some point, but I'm better with paper and pen. All right. It's thoughtful. I can transfer my notes to my iPad or my software later. Can I just ask a few questions about you? And I go into, I want to know about them. So, first and foremost, is there any medical reason that you can't be doing a strength training? Would a doctor be saying, don't do that? Any reason you shouldn't be lifting something heavy, or any restrictions at all? No. Great. Okay. That's fantastic. If you ever wanted me to talk to your doctor and explain what we're doing, I'd be happy to. People have taken me up on that, by the way, and it sells. And the doctor would say, that was a very thoughtful trainer. One of the few that I've come across. You should definitely work with him, because I would talk about safe and effective. And my explanation was in 30 seconds or less. I didn't bore the doctor. Take a few notes, ask a few questions. What are your goals? Just so you know, reiterate, I just do the strength training part. Another lesson that I learned, and I'll divert a little bit here, is a doctor friend of mine who I was training back in 1988. I was getting a little technical during the session. And I said, doctor, come on, I was a woman, a cardiologist. Doctor, come on over here, have a seat on the leg extension machine. And what we're going to do here is we're going to work the rectus femoris with some knee extension. I was intimidated. This is a female doctor, cardiologist, surgeon, brilliant. Here's their intelligence level. Here's me, right? So I was playing me. So I was trying to, let me be at least good at what I'm doing. But she looked at me a little bit when she sat on the machine. She looked at me with these eyes, and it caught me. And hey doc, rectus femoris, the muscles, the quadriceps here, and she, oh, come on, doc, you're putting me on, right? I thought I was getting punked, right? So I'm like, now I'm really scared. I'm like, bead sweats happening. I'm like, oh, I'm embarrassing myself somehow. And I don't know how, maybe I got it wrong. No, Pete, you don't understand. I do the heart. Okay. In New York City, we have left-hand doctors and right-hand doctors. That was her exact line. And I'm not getting it. What does that mean? I don't understand. In New York City, we have so many patients coming in and such a high volume of people that all we do is focus on our specialty, and we forget everything else because we've got to read and keep up with our specialty because it's evolving every week. So I read the latest research on heart surgery every day. Every day I can get my hands on something, and then I go put it into practice. I forget everything from med school that I don't need because I got to make room for this. If you don't think those numbers were impactful and really focused me.
I had exact same experience because there's a big hospital, a couple of big hospitals in Galway. It's very much that type of area. So we had quite a lot of doctors of different types in our clientele. In fact, we still do at Optima Strength. I remember training this one client, and I can't remember her specialty now, but it was something related to the musculoskeletal system, which made me feel even more, inadequate. And I remember saying to her, and I kept saying, look, I know you already know this. But she's like, please stop caveating. Like, just assume I know nothing. Because actually she didn't. I mean, she did, but she didn't know a lot about the strength training specifically and how it was because that's not her field, to your point. And I think that we should be keeping things simple for everyone because then everyone understands it and everyone appreciates it, as long as we're not being patronizing, of course. So yeah, I think you made a really good point there. So where are we then? So you're on the.
No, I would reiterate
Okay.
during the consultation. They're sitting on the medics, pull down, and
Yep.
I'm asking questions, and people like to see you writing things down because it means you're paying attention and they're talking. It's an 80-20
Right.
deal. They're doing most of the talking. I ask a question. I want to hear the answer. And at some point I say, listen, just so we're clear, I do the strength training. I'm focused, right? I do the strength training and I guarantee you will get stronger, period. And I put a guarantee out there. That's what I do. I'm not going to go jogging with you. I'm not going to play paddle tennis. I do the strength training. No, I need that, Pete. Great. Why don't we try a set? And let me show you a little bit about why my strength training is different. And I have this way in my consultations where I kind of break down the math. I'll give you a 30-second version of it. I don't want you to copy it. It's just something I did, which seemed to hit with the clients. So the average person goes into the gym and you do, this is on average, right? You do about a dozen exercises. You do 3 sets of 12 on about a dozen machines, and maybe you walk on the treadmill before and after, and you're out the door. And that could take 60 to 90 minutes of your time, right? Obviously, one machine is like way over there, and then there's the travel to the gym. I said, I've condensed all that into one little package. I said, let me do a little math for you. So 12 reps, let's say you're doing a curl, and this is pretty good form, right? I mean, I'm just doing the curl. It's not sloppy. I'm not going to get hurt. But I've timed this. Here's my stopwatch. I've timed this. The average set of 12 reps takes about 12 to 15 seconds on average. Some people do it slower naturally, and some people do it faster, right? I find that to be inefficient for a few reasons, which I'm not going to bore you with. But if we just do the math and you do 3 sets of 12 seconds per set, that's 45 seconds of work on the exercise with lots and lots of rest periods and no real tension on the muscle. If you multiply that by 12 exercises, that's 540 seconds. Interestingly enough, if you divide that by 60 seconds in a minute, you've done 9 minutes worth of work in a 60 to 90 minute session. So I got a question for you. What the hell were you doing with the other 51 minutes? And I put it on that. Oh, wow. Yeah, I never looked at it that way. Do you know what I did? I'm going to just give you the 9 minutes, but it's going to be much more productive. Let me try. One of my sets is equal to 6 of yours. We're going to do 90 seconds on this. I'm going to pick a challenging weight for you. Listen to my cues. Let me walk you through it. You don't have to know anything. I'll take care of everything. That's my service.
Would
I
you,
will take care of everything.
obviously, you're going to get all sorts of people come in. Some people who've never set foot in a gym, people that are scared of gyms. And then you get people that have gone through the 6 hours a week situation. So would you still use that really good example? I love it, by the way, with someone who actually has no experience with the gym or no experience with multiple set training, has no real context? Or would you move on or use something else maybe?
People love the math. I could boil it down to 9 minutes. I can
Right.
boil down the average workout in a gym to 9 minutes, even if they've never done one.
Okay, because they
get-
still
they
understand
get-
the idea that people are spending hours and hours,
They're just
wasting time. Yeah, yeah.
flailing about getting nothing done. But watch this. Then I give them a weight and I have them do 3 reps in 90 seconds, which is one of my protocols. And on the MedX pull down, now everybody knows the MedX pull down is 46% of the represented weight. So if there's 100 pounds in the pinned weight, it's really only 46 pounds that you're lifting, right? So if I take a 55-year-old woman and I put her on the MedX pull down, she's never lifted weights before, or if she's done the pull down machine in the gym, it's with 20 or 40 pounds for 3 sets of 12. And I put it in 140 because I've been doing this 100,000 times. And for so many years, I kind of just know where to try. I'm usually not wrong. It's a reasonable weight. And when I get done with the set, I step back and I say, listen, I don't want you to think I played a trick on you, but turn around and look, because they can't see the weight stack. Turn around and take a look and see how much weight you lifted. Oh my God. That's the response. There's the set right there. Did I lift that? And then I reach up, I grab the movement arm, I pull it down 6 inches and I let it up so it bangs. I say, yes, you lifted that. Wow. Now, don't be scared. Heavier weights will make you smaller, tighter, stronger, and healthier. One of my taglines. They can identify with all that. If there's any hesitation, I say, and that's what you want, right? And they just look at me for a second like, well, do you want to be stronger or weaker? Stronger. Do you want to be tighter or looser? You want the flabby thing here, Thanksgiving, or do you want to be tighter? Smaller or bigger, right? Healthier or sick or die next Tuesday. I would just go through it. It's just a natural thing.
And share your other one-liner too, because it's so good. The more your elevator pitch.
Which one?
The one where you're like, it's 15 minutes, you don't sweat or change your clothes.
Oh, 15 minutes once a week, you don't have to sweat or change your clothes is what got them in the door.
Yeah. So that's, for those that haven't heard that before, that's Pete's cocktail party, BNI networking, elevator spiel that is very effective. And there's a lot of our, obviously, members in high intensity business have used that with great effect. Couple of questions of what you said. When you guaranteed they would get stronger, I would often get the question, how long does it take? These kinds of things. How would you respond when someone says, well, how strong, or how long does it take me to get X stronger, or whatever?
So I had a protocol. No, the answer is the next workout, every single workout.
Right.
Okay. So I have a protocol where you do as few reps as possible in 90 seconds. If you could do 3 or less, weight's too light. We need more. So it's a game like golf, and 80% of my people, I know golf. My husband golfs. I golf all the time. Okay. Lowest score wins, right? So I made a game out of it. So if you could do 8 to 12 reps in 90 seconds, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's definitely better than 12 reps in 12 seconds. If you could do 6 to 8 reps in 90 seconds, well, okay, you're working the weight. That's pretty cool. If you could do 3 or less, then that's it. You own that weight. You dominated it. We need more. We need a challenge. If you can't lift a weight or control it effectively, you're going to speed up a bit. Oh, okay. Now anybody gets that. And I explained it in 10 seconds. Okay. Some of my responses are, what if I could do it in 1 rep? A little sarcasm, right? And I say, that's awesome. That's the ultimate, which is the Ellington Darden protocol and where I got it from. Okay.
Right.
I didn't infect you. I read it and I'm like, this is the way.
And you made it your own, though, your own mechanism. Yeah.
I did. And I did not. Here's another thing that for today's call. I don't say 1 rep in 90 seconds is awesome. You know who invented that? Ellington Darden in his book, High Intensity. I don't do that. I see every other trainer doing that, giving credit to where they read about it. And it makes them sound like they don't have their own thought in their head. It really takes them down a level. It doesn't elevate them in any way. So you don't know anything and you read this somewhere, you're trying to recycle this. Maybe I should call the guy that wrote it. It just doesn't sell. So don't do it.
I hear you.
1 rep in 90 seconds. That's awesome. And blah, blah, blah. Now, hey, listen, thank you so much for coming. Do you have any questions for me? No, not really. Do I have to change my clothes sometimes? No. And so if you notice, there's other people working out right now. Most of them don't change because they don't sweat. You'll be done in about 9, 10, 11, 12 minutes. You'll never be rushed. Okay. We're always taking our time. We're doing it effectively. Here's my rates and policies card. If you have any questions, you want to get on my schedule, just shoot me a text or an email. If you have any questions tomorrow, please, something that popped into your head when you left here, just shoot me a text or an email. I'll be happy to answer it. Otherwise, I can't thank you enough for coming in here. And now I'm walking them out the door. I'm not begging them to stay. I'm not, can I show you anything else? I'm not trying to serve them anymore. We're done. Okay. And to show we're done, and I've got a client now waiting, I walk them out.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you'd like some water or coffee, just help yourself. But I got to go because I'm in demand. And I go. Okay. And I always book my consultations right before a session. Always.
Genius.
How do you not
smart.
do
That is
right?
smart. Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
book a consultation where you have a 2-hour window, that's a red flag.
Yeah. Very well said. I love what you said there about you're so good at boiling it down to the most effective response. Like when I say, how does it take to get stronger? Well, you'll be stronger by the next one. I think now we don't need to get into the science of it's not muscle. It's more like motor control improvement in you don't need to, they're going to see more weight move session to session. So
on the workout chart.
right.
It's on the
Exactly.
chart.
Exactly.
So 3 months down the road, when the client, and this happens all the time, when the client says, Pete, how am I doing? We've been doing, well, let's see, you've got 12 sessions so far because I got them numbered, right? Here's the weight you started with. I had my charts laid out in a way that they can read them. So here's the starting weight and you go straight across and here's what we're using today. Ooh, that's pretty good. Hey, let's do something for fun. And I put the original weight on when they first met me or I had their first workout. Nice. Just do this for a couple of reps. Just do it. Doesn't count. Oh my God, that's too light now. Exactly. And that's what people are doing in gyms. We don't need that.
No. And I think I don't know. Some people might be thinking, "Oh, like this is so manipulative and salesy," but it's like it's actually it comes back to what people were saying about it's about you. It's sorry, it's about them. It's not about you. Is that actually when we're reciting Arthur Jones and we're talking about the history of high intensity training, that's almost for our own pleasure. Like our prospect doesn't care about that initially, and by using the techniques Pete's talking about and simplifying things right down and getting straight to the point, it's so empathetic, and it's really tailoring the experience for them and the outcome they want and helping them to move forward and then helping them to comply over the long term. And that's ultimately going to transform people's lives, right? And get people's health where we want it to be. Um, I don't know whether that needed clarifying, but sometimes I think like this sort of approach gets misinterpreted as being something that is like not nefarious is the wrong word, but you know what I mean? It's like a selfish business approach. It's like, no, 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 the kind of like the most effective business practice dovetails perfectly like well, what's best for the customer in terms of their own well-being and their own results from the workout, if that makes sense. Been thinking about that a lot
100%.
lately because people talk a lot about like, like a lot of people don't like the business side of it, but it's like the business. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'll probably leave that there, but yeah, I think you kind of get what I mean, ish.
Well, I do a soft sell approach. I'm famous for that, and everybody knows that's. I don't put a gun to your head. I'll push you out the door real quick. If you decide to sign up, that's great. But while I'm selling the consultation and I'm getting to the point, one thing you did not hear one word. I did not talk about my health condition, my strength level, my health journey. How did I come about this? None of that. You will. And I've had clients work with me for 25 years and they never asked the question and I never gave the answer. How did you ever come across these workouts, Pete? Never once. 150,000 sessions, never got the question once. What does that say? That says that if you serve the client, that's what they want. They don't want to hear my story. You know that most of my clients don't know my son's name. They don't know when I was married or when I was divorced. Like they don't know. When a client comes in and, hey, how are you today? Oh, I'm doing great, thanks. How are you doing? When
Yeah,
they
right.
it's
That's a fact.
rhetorical. They don't want to hear me dribble on.
Sometimes they're literally just being polite. They're just being polite,
Being polite.
and I'm sure you had over time, you did develop relationships, right? And they do ask things because they're interested, but they don't want war and peace.
Right.
Like they want,
Right.
yeah, they want to hear a bit, but they don't want you to then lead into a lecture. I am really guilty of this, right? I get on my soapbox like I just did about something I wasn't even had fully thought through. And it's like, and I can see it in I'm better at this these days, I like to think, and I've self-reflected on this more, but like, historically, I mean, my missus used to hate it because I do it with my missus all the time. I get all my, high horse about something to do with diet or training or fill in the blank. And she's like, I feel like you're just lecturing me. Like, this isn't fun for me, and we had to like work on it. And yeah, it's so true what you're saying. It's like, sure, like answer the client's question, but like turn it back on them. Like they don't want you to lecture them basically. So yeah, this is great. This is really good stuff. I really agree with what you're saying.
Keep it about them.
Yes.
By the way, if you noticed, I use one exercise and one exercise only for my demonstration. I do not give a free workout, which is a very popular thing. We want to give you a free workout and talk about it and the invention of it. Now you just spend 2 hours giving 15 minutes of exercise. No, no. When you
Yeah.
go to your doctor's office, do they give you a free physical or like, no. When you go to the liquor store and they crack open a bottle and say, hey, try this. No, I don't give free. I need to demonstrate one exercise to show why I'm different because I'm very different and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And they see the excitement. This is different, man. I'm going to get a wow out of you. And that's
Yeah.
my goal. That's for me. Other than that, it's about them.
Yeah. And to make sure I don't confuse the audience too much, obviously I do have an alternative free workout approach, which is a free workout, which has been very successful for me and others, which is a similar length, 30 to 45 minutes, and does put them through a full workout with intensity. And so I'm not saying that I think both work, right? And I think your approach is really unique and interesting and good. And it's clearly, all I care about is results in the day. Like if people have used not my approach, but the approach that I've put together inspired from others, um, that's tiny bit longer and does actually try to work out. But the conversation's similar, the consultation's similar. If people get great results converting clients with that, and they do with yours, I'm I'm cool with it. You know.
Did I just accidentally trash your whole program?
Well, you know what? If they
I'm okay
didn't
with that.
if they didn't convert sales, you would, yeah. But
Yeah,
they
yeah. If
convert.
they didn't convert my way, they'll try talking longer.
When it's
I'm
not
just teasing.
talking, I know you
If,
are. I know
if
you are.
you're
But
if you're converting and you're making money, you're not watching this call,
no, this is the,
right?
well, maybe they are, but this is the thing. Because I got to be mindful here that, like, obviously, people watching this are. I've seen other episodes where I've walked them through an entire sales process that's entirely different, and I don't know whether that's. I mean, that's okay. We're sharing different ideas, but the
Yeah.
reality is what you're saying. It's like, what is your data? Like, are you converting like over 70% of your free workouts, right? And if so, then like to keep doing what you're doing, probably, and that's fine, right? But it's just, yeah, different approaches.
I agree. I start all my talks with that. If everything's working for you, you have no need to listen to me. Don't let me bore you.
But
And I really
yeah, but let's be
serious,
super clear.
serious.
Like the things that are aligned across both are it's about them, it's not about you, right? The
Yes,
consultation 80/20 listening talking ratio is the same,
yes.
right? Demonstrating the differentiation in the workout, like how it's different, right? Um, we would have a close at the end, but it would be soft. It would be like, how would you like to move forward? And we would sort it there and then. It's different for you. You had a session right after. You had a different system, a different approach. It's totally cool. So there are a lot of similarities. It's just slightly different in its like brevity and structure.
Well, let me call you out on that one. You said at the end of the session, at the end of the demonstration, how would you like to move forward? Those are words that I would not use, and I would never let my trainers use. And yeah, it's a fireable offense. Don't put a gun to their head. Now, it worked for you, and I respect that.
And many
Let me tell
others.
you, let me tell, man, well, yeah, but many others didn't do the volume I did. So let me tell you why I don't do that. It goes back to the scarcity again. It goes back to what I learned from Al Pacino. It goes
Sure,
back
sure.
to what I learned from the doctor. I'm going to get a better result it's a poker game, right? Think about this. I saw this on TV last night. I'll just throw it out there. The two players playing poker. I'm not a poker player. The one gets his cards, he peeks at it. He's got an ace king. The other guy doesn't even pick up his cards and looks at him and puts his chips down and says, 50,000. And the guy says, you didn't even look at your chips. Like, that's the poker game. So with me, I don't want you to, I'm not going to say, would you like to move forward? I'm going to be the guy that says, you know what? I don't need you. Thanks for coming in. You're done. I'm going to get a bigger response. Now you got to be able to pull that off. If you can't pull that off, you got to do it your way.
Yeah, maybe. I think they just both, I like your approach. I do. I mean, it's worked for people, and continues to work really well. But I've seen both work. So I think
Yeah.
maybe it's about taking what works best for you out of these
Well, no,
two.
I just supported your point.
But you know what's well, yeah.
Also, I'll add a little more to that. Now, without naming names, you and I agree that there's a trainer who we're both very, very fond of, who's wildly successful. And I said to you, Lawrence, you know why he's so successful? Because he's such a great guy that if he was selling flowers, you'd buy them. You don't care. You just want to be with this guy because he's just such a cool guy, right? Any approach is going to work for that gentleman. Any approach. He could do a 2-hour consultation, you'll buy from him. He could
Right.
do a 30-second consultation, you'll buy from him because it's him, right?
Maybe. But well, yeah, but that's why data is important, right? That's why if we've got a lot of people doing a certain approach, we're measuring the conversion rate, like then we know if it's like meaningful and it's not just about the individual, right? Um,
Well, so my ultimate
yeah.
point here is I started this call with saying, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm going to make recommendations. What you can get out of this and all this information that I'm presenting to you. And I got a little bit more for you that's going to be controversial. We're going to get into that in a second.
Oh yeah.
you're going to get pissed and throw something at the screen. But
I don't know, Pete. We were doing so well. I'm kidding.
what I
Right.
want you to get from this is just like your workouts. The way you're always kind of tinkering with your workouts and your protocols, and can I do it a little bit better? And can I do this setting it? Can you do your consultations a little bit better, a little bit more efficient? That's all. Can you get your closing rate up a little higher? So consider this. If you're not closing as well as you are, do you want to talk more or less? I say try it with a little less. Brevity can really work well here for you. Efficiency can sell very well for you. If it doesn't work well for you, you could always talk longer, right? I'm just making recommendations. Try it. I think you'll like it. You'll like it for yourself. I didn't waste 14 hours on the consultations this week. I did it, a fraction of that time.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm tempted to edit this. I'm not going to, but only because I don't want to confuse the audience. And I think that ultimately, I think that your approach is good. And I think that, people listening to this who are building a garage gym or in fact, are running any kind of high intensity training business and they want to start, building up their clientele and converting more customers, try it, test it, do it for like 50 sessions or whatever, consults, see how it goes. And yeah, I really don't want to overwhelm people with options. It's like both work at the end of the day and whatever works best for you, go for it.
Remember, I
Also,
said that. I supported you, and I said,
you did. We don't always have to agree on things either, Pete.
we usually don't.
So, okay, just a couple like questions then. I'm thinking again about the garage gym context. Not everyone has like a torso arm, like Med-X torso arm or pull down. Do you
Mhm.
have you've worked with loads of people with different garage gym setups. So I guess you're always personalizing it and looking at their environment and being like, where would be the ideal place to have them sit? Can you give
Mhm.
us some maybe examples of, many people don't have a Med-X torso arm. So what could they do as an alternative?
So a machine. So here's the two things you're looking for. Hopefully you have it even in a garage gym setting. And if you don't, just have a seat somewhere where you're kind of eye to eye with somebody. It could be in the waiting area, or it doesn't have to be on a piece of equipment. And then you can go over to the piece of equipment that you choose to do your demonstration on. What I'm looking for is to be eye level. You never want the client sitting somewhere where they're beneath you. You're, you're in a dominant position physically. That doesn't look good. Never looks good, right? Not even in an exercise. Like, do you ever see the 45-degree leg press at the gym and the trainer standing over there and the client's eyes are crotch level with the trainer? Yeah, not good. Not good body language. In my opinion, if my wife were training with this person, they'd be fired pretty quick. Just, show some manners. Okay. Other options, possibly a dip machine. Do you have a dip machine that faces out and you can raise the seat on just for the conversation and have a nice footstool? I always think that's a nice touch. Okay. If not the dip machine, the chest press could work. Now, I'll tell you how the chest press could work better. If you're using the pronated grip on a Nautilus Nitro chest press and you have the seat low so that the handles are, across the upper chest, that's a great setting, but not great for a consultation. Instead, if you could raise the seat up and use the neutral grip for your demonstration, now you're more eye level and they're facing out. So everybody has a chest press. Just pick the neutral grip in a higher seat setting for conversation purposes. You don't even have to do that exercise ever again. You may switch off. This is just for a demonstration and a conversation. Either way, elevate the client. I mean, those are just words to kind of live by, right? Not even the physical part of it. Elevate the client, make them feel comfortable, welcomed, not judged.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm curious what you think about this. So I started, we had a desk and I had a chair behind the desk and they would sit the other side of the desk. And I realized I was creating this like barrier between us, right? So what I started doing is had the chairs both the same side. And I would kind of be just facing slightly off, but we would be just eye level, same, both sat opposite one another. And I just found that the prospect would be so much more comfortable in that dynamic.
mhm.
Any thoughts about that? If someone doesn't have the appropriate machine, just having two nice chairs set up in that kind of like in that position, would that be okay in your opinion?
That's a wonderful idea. And I've done that. And I'm going to tell you about it in a second. But you know what? You thought of this on your own. You said, it's sitting across from, but well, here's my barrier and here's my
Sure.
dominance. And I'm behind the desk, like at the White House, right? I'm behind the desk and you're not. You're in front of the desk. You're not even allowed to sit. You have to stand. That shows that you're dominant and they're inferior and it's bad body language. So you pulled the chair around, sat next to them. Well, isn't that thoughtful? Isn't that thoughtful sells? Use it. It's just, you know what? Common courtesy, politeness, these things sell. Sincerity sells. So that was brilliant. In my studio, we had a kitchen. It's got a refrigerator, a nice granite countertop and sink and big 30, 40 cup coffee pot that's always running and smelling up the kitchen beautifully. Some overhead cabinets and a round glass kitchen table with only 2 chairs. Actually, no, 4 chairs. But sometimes I'd start a consultation with, come on in the kitchen. Would you like a cup of coffee? Pour them a cup of coffee, sit at the kitchen table. And I wouldn't sit across from them. I would sit,
Right.
on an angle kind of next to them. And now we're having this very nice over a cup of coffee. So, and that's for a client that maybe they're very overweight. Maybe you could just tell they're feeling very insecure about this. And the fact that they walked through your door was a massive accomplishment. Do I want to run right in and sit on a machine? No. But everybody likes the smell of coffee. So let's go sit in here for a minute, just chat for a minute. So how are you doing? What can I do for you? What do you want to accomplish? And I'm not taking notes now. The pad's there. I'll write it down later. I just want to talk to you. That thoughtfulness and that body language speaks volumes.
Yeah, love that. Love that nuance. And what about obviously the garage gym tour is going to be extremely brief, right?
Yes.
Here's the
You're
studio.
in
Here's
it.
the garage.
You're
Yeah,
in it.
this is the machine, and you can say like, "Hey, we've got some upper body, some lower body." Again, keeping it high level. We've got the bathrooms over there. But it's going to be like, would you have anything to say on that, Pete? Like, because I'm trying to bring it back to like we know most people are tuning in because this is the garage gym series, right? So I'm always trying to bring it back to that.
My studio in New York City was about 3,000 square feet. Every single piece of MedX, which was 24 pieces, I believe, including the stretch, which we never used. 2 outdoor decks, 2 bathrooms, 2 changing rooms, and a front counter that 3 or 4 or 5 people could sit behind and have meetings. Okay. Big place, right? My tour of the place took 10 seconds. We stood in front of a counter and over there we got some nice machines and over there we got some nice machines. Let's go sit over here and chat for a second. So if my tour takes 10 seconds, your tour in a garage gym should take 10 seconds. So here's our place. I handpicked some really great machines that I identify with and I think you'll love. Tour's over. Now get to that.
Yeah. Perfect. I think we've covered the consultation quite well. Any other thought before we move on to the fads?
Okay.
Any other final thoughts about the consultation?
Well, this works its way into it.
Cool.
And I feel strongly about this. So,
I see.
One of the latest fads that I've seen. This is one of them. But a lot of veterans have said, "Hey, we have a new piece of equipment. It's the body fat analyzer machine." I've seen, and there's different versions of this. That I've heard of the bod pod. I've heard of names escape me. Stand on it and grab.
Yeah, like InBody. It's quite popular. Yeah.
Yes, that's the one.
DEXA. Yeah.
DEXA scan, which is a very expensive machine.
I mean, that would be less common. That would be more in maybe some of the smart gym type setups. But the InBody's pretty popular. Or the Fit 3D scanner is another one where you stand and it rotates around you.
Yes,
maybe there's others that I've not
seen. Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is bad for many, many reasons. And I know you're all going to get upset with me and I'm fine with that, but I'm probably going to
Do you think I'm going to get upset with you?
No, everybody watching this.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Cause I kind of agree with you on this one.
Everybody watching. So So part of the tour is, and we've got this scanner. I'm going to call it a scanner for, in-body scanner,
Got it.
right?
Yep.
People say it like everybody should know what that means or what it does, or they should be impressed. They're not. Okay. Actually, you just injected fear into them. You're going to measure my body fat levels. And part of your consultation and tour is to get up on this machine and let's do an analysis of how out of shape you really are. And we're going to do a printout so you could see it. You know what? Maybe we'll stick it up on a billboard out in the parking lot so the whole world can now know that you just got 50 pounds of fat on you. Like, this is not good for just every reason. Okay. Don't do it. Now, on top of risking the embarrassment of your client, which is going to kill the sale, on top of that, you are now putting yourself in a position of failure. And I know we all, as HIT trainers, failure is the goal, but not failure in business. This is going to fail your business ultimately. You may close a few of them, but let me tell you why. Client comes in, they are obviously not in the best shape in the world. They hired you or they're interested in hiring you. You now do this body fat analyzation and you've got hard numbers. This person not only does not work hard for you, because, most of our clients aren't interested in working hard. That's why they're hiring a trainer. But they don't eat well. They don't have good dietary habits. And guess what? They have a bottle of wine every single night, which you have no control over. So 3 months later, after they've spent thousands of dollars on your training sessions, and you do a follow-up analyze, this is where it's going south fast, right? Hey, look, the numbers are the same or worse. You got a little more body fat and a little less muscle. They're going to turn around and blame you and quit. And that's the majority of your clients. And long-term, you're going to just fail at this business. I don't believe in these machines. I told people I do strength. I'm in control of that. I will make you stronger. I can work you harder. I cannot control anything once you leave the studio.
The other thing as well is people think it's a great retention tool, which I'm not convinced it is. And the opposite can happen too, where you show them a great result and they don't care because maybe they want to do, we had this happen recently. Someone wanted to do like Pilates because they enjoyed it more. And the individual was like, well, hey, but you've increased your muscle and strength by like, wasn't about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, go ahead.
Not good. If they go on a strict diet, okay, this is common knowledge. Anybody who's using this stuff, if you go on a 500 calorie deficit, you're going to lose a pound a week. It's not pure body fat. All humans lose a little bit of muscle tissue. So your body fat, your scanner is going to show muscle loss, even though you're down 25 pounds, but you're also down 5 pounds of muscle. But I thought your strength training was supposed to cure that. No, happens to everybody. And now try to talk your way out of that one. Okay. It's disaster. I don't want it. I don't need it. It wasn't going to make me any money. It was going to cost me more time. And no, absolutely not. So I didn't do it. I can guarantee the strength. I could specialize in it. The whole New York City was like, you want to get stronger, see Pete. You want to go to a dance class, go see these other people. Like, I was a specialty. I made more money. It worked for me. So I don't believe in these machines. I would never have one at my studio. I would never put myself in a position to lose a client. And that's what you're doing. So I know it's the hottest thing and people are spending, I've heard numbers, Lawrence, you back me up on this one. I think some of these machines go $6,000.
Yeah, that's, and more. And I get it. Like for yourself, it's really awesome, right? Because if you're really obsessed with tracking your own numbers and you're into that, like quantified self type of thing, then like I get it. But yeah, I think we've got to be really careful when introducing it to the business.
Let me give you a solution.
Go.
I don't want to just tear something down. So what do you do in these situations? I'm not a nutritionist. And I'm a strength trainer. I do give very loose nutrition advice. When people say, Pete, I'm feeling good with these workouts. What do you think I could do with my diet? There's a couple of ways you can go that are very, very easy. Number one, if you just reduce your carbs a little bit or just be mindful of them, that's usually good. People don't realize that they're getting 200 or 300 grams of carbs a day, whether it's a glass of wine or a dessert, that they can't metabolize at this age anymore. So if you just cut your carbs a little bit, okay, don't count them, don't get scientific. Just try that. See if you can cut something lower. You'll probably lose a pound or two right there. That's step one. Step number two is if you're big on alcohol and you just cut out alcohol or cut back on it for a period of time, that usually yields a result. Step number three is if you want a referral, I know a couple of great nutritionists around town. They're not cheap, but they'll sit down and really go through it line by line by line. So I gave them free, so ridiculously expensive. And don't give me an answer right now. I'm just telling you, I can point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Now,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
And now I'm done and I'm back to strength training.
Yeah.
I got diet off my plate because I can't control them. By the way, I had a nutritionist work in I had a separate office in one of my studios. Okay. One of my first studios, I made a separate office, separate entrance, and I had a nutritionist in there and I would refer to her. Okay. She's very successful, did a great job. More people would quit, but I separated the businesses. No, I have nothing to do with her. No, she doesn't work for me. No, you'll pay her directly. I had so many people come to me and say, Pete, I don't want to quit your workouts, but can I quit the nutritionist? I'm not losing any weight. I can't follow what she's saying and I don't like it. No problem. She won't take it personally. She'll smile every time you come in. I guarantee it, or I'll throw her out. And yes, we can continue the strength training. So I saved my strength training business for some sessions with people who people don't necessarily have the willpower. That's why we have a job, right? If they had willpower, what do they need you for? I can go lift weights on my own. I could push myself to failure.
It's not just
right?
about willpower, though.
Not just, but it's a pretty big component.
Because we do want to solve this problem. That's why this happens, right? That's why we've got strength trainers out there doing nutrition, body comp, strength training, and the rest. Because they're really passionate about solving the problem. Like, yes, there is also like, oh, I can make more money by having more services to sell. But they also believe they're gonna help the situation, but they're not. They're probably just gonna overcomplicate their business, confuse their customer, and actually drive them away potentially. There's a few things that I wanted to mention, which is so true about what you're saying. Is I see a lot of patterns in our space, right? The most successful high intensity training business owners are focused, right? They are doing the fewer things than you realize, right? Had a conversation with one yesterday, doing close to $1 million a year, just does one-on-one strength training, nothing else, no nutrition, no group training. Discover strength. They just, if someone asks about nutrition, they're like, yeah, reduce your calories, eat more protein, done, right? I also like the fact that at first, when you were describing how you would help someone with their diet questions, I thought, oh, this sounds like a bit of a slippery slope here. But then number 3, you were like, refer out. I was like, okay, good. We did the same thing at Optima Strength where we had a partnership with someone I'm good friends with and trust, who's like, who was, I think he does something different now. But he was like a body transformation coach. Very different. Nutritionists aren't necessarily actually very good at understanding how to work with someone in terms of their behaviors. They're more about like minerals and nutrients and things. They're not, in my experience, right? Or this guy's like, no, he knows how to help people actually lose fat, right? That's what he's about. So I would defer them to him. And what I found worked really well is when someone came to a consultation, they were asking for that. I was like, no, we don't do that. I said, this is the role. I'd very, again, high level, briefly explain strength training will help with fat loss in this way. But the big lever here is diet and you need to talk to this person. He would give us a kickback. So we would make a little bit of money from that. The client would trust me more because I've just been completely honest with them. And I haven't sat there and said, oh yeah, this strength training is going to help you lose 20, 30 pounds or whatever. And they would probably still move forward with the strength training too, because they would understand by that point how they need to strength train in order to retain the muscle, right? Because they just diet, they're going to lose the muscle. So that was always, and that should be what we're saying in our strength training consultations when given that objection or when someone comes up with that goal as being their primary thing. I think that's one of the ways to do it, right? And Any thoughts there? I've got some more thoughts I want to share that just reinforce what you're saying, but
Well, I'll give you two things.
yeah.
One is this is the Garage Gym series. Mark Campbell down in Australia, who is knocking out probably about 70 plus sessions per week now, and climbing fast. Who, by the way, is going to come and visit me in the United States in the month of December coming
Oh,
up. I
wow.
can't wait to see him and his entire family are going to come and
Oh,
stay
wow.
with me at my house. We're going to play with Imagine Strength machines, do some workouts, and have fun with the kids. So
That's
looking
so
forward to
cool.
that. But Mark gives very loose diet advice. We work together to build his business, and Mark just simply says, I just believe in cutting your carbs, whatever level you're comfortable with. And now he's done with it. So he gave an answer. It was free. He didn't sell anything. He reinforces strength training. That's one. Number two is referring out. Referring out always gave me the ability to basically knock them down if need be. So if the client would come to me after 3 months of working with a nutritionist, the body fat expert, and say, hey, according to my latest scan, I've lost muscle and fat, and they weren't happy about that, the muscle part. I could turn around and say, well, maybe you're dieting too hard. Yeah, I'm throwing them under the bus. I don't want to lose my money. So if somebody's got to get thrown out of the boat, it's you, pal. And yeah, it's happened. I've done it. And I didn't lose my client, and I protected my business. And guess what? I gave a great service, and I was being honest.
Yeah.
You may be starving yourself. Yeah, we're losing muscle. I don't like that.
Right. Yeah. Great point. Interesting. Yeah. And just to get back, I just want to really reinforce focus because I think it's so important. And we've not even really spoken about the kind of brand side of it, but it's like, there's the idea that the consumer can only really see you as being great at one thing. And when you start doing multiple things, the strength training elements kind of gets diluted in their perception of you. They won't see you as being great at that. And because they always group people and businesses as like, they do that. Pete does nutrition, straight, like some workout, some like body comp scanner, some stretching. Like it gets really kind of like blurry. And this is most people listening to us won't be aware of this, but this is the problem with the fitness industry is they're all doing this. They're all making the same mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're not having that kind of strong brand in the mind of the consumer. So there is that. And we had a wonderful masterclass month before last with Luke Carlson from Discover Strength, where he talked all about focus. And if you saw that, Pete, I don't know if you were on it actually. It's phenomenal. He just nails it. And there was someone on the call and they were like, yeah, I have one of those. Like I have an InBody or whatever it was. And they were like, I don't know why I have this. It's creating me loads of work. I'm not making much money. I want to go in there right now and throw it out. Because Luke had just given this, really good overview of why it probably wasn't ideal. And yeah, and I think that individual did that. And again, guys, like I see the patterns. I talk to a lot of the studios, and the vast majority of those that are growing the fastest, been the most successful, those that stay really focused on just the personalized strength training, frankly. I mean, this one guy who I mentioned who's like, doing like $1 million a year, he's been in high intensity business pro since 2018, and he's quadrupled his revenue since then. Because he's just stayed focused on it, on being great at the workout, right? Great at the customer experience, and just like ignoring everything else, saying no to like everything else. Yeah. So just wanted to make that clear because I think that's, I think it's an important takeaway for those who are maybe struggling to grow or just getting started and just want to keep them focused. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. My little soapbox moment. Okay. So also, I know that some people listening to this are going to, so I'll wrap it there. I know we haven't spoken about like how do we get leads here? How do we get loads of consultations? And Pete's provided content before. We'll link to it below. There's a do me a favor method where we recorded a video where Andre, my assistant, will link that below. And then we've also got, if you're interested in like a warm outreach PDF like guide, like how you would reach out to people and get them in for consultations, just join our free school group. It's school.com/HIB-free, and there'll be a link below. And you can get hold of that. Obviously, if you want to join HIB Pro and get access to those masterclasses I mentioned, you can see the link below for that as well. Pete, where are we? So obviously next time we're talking about Protocols, workout protocols, obviously that's super important, and finding your voice. And those are obviously connected. So I'm excited to record those of you. But where else are we sending people? We're going to send them to your rep group, are we, on Facebook? REP? Yeah.
Resistance Exercise Professionals Rep on Facebook. It's just a group where I show you a lot of successful studios and nothing else. I think it's really great for people to see what other people are doing. Only the ones that I like that are doing really well. I see some nonsense that I won't put up. So please join. There's no downside to it. And you could always find me through High Intensity Business in Lawrence. So
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. And exactly. If you're interested in working with Pete, obviously you can find out more if you join High Intensity Business, our free community, or our pro paid community as well. Links below in the description. Pete, thank you so much. This is a lot of fun. I really appreciate you. And yeah, I just think you're providing a lot of value. And for everyone else, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you very soon.